Now that you have seen my graph, I will now be explaining the key features of it. First, I would like to apologize because I incorrectly stated my domain and my range. My domain is actually the amount of hours, and the domain is the x values, and my range is the amount of caffeine in my body, which is the range is the y values. Anyway, the domain of my graph would be from 9.01 to 48, which represents the lowest amount of hours when I start consuming caffeine to the end time. The reason why it's like 9.01 is because it can't directly start at 9 because of that's the exact moment when I took the caffeine and it needed time to enter in the body. Next up is the range, which is 0.63 to 50.76, which is the lowest amount of caffeine to the highest one. The highest amount of caffeine represents when I stop consuming caffeine, and then the lowest amount would be if this pattern, this graph goes in a perfect, um, right, perfect like path. At the 48th hour, I will have 0.63 caffeine in my body, and it won't be enough to do anything to my body. So, anyway, on the graph, you will see that there's a maximum point, which is located on the my green line, and what this shows is that it shows the hour when I would have the maximum amount of caffeine, and so that's gonna be a time where I have like the most energy, and then the minimum point which will be the 48th hour with the lowest amount of caffeine I have in my body is 0.63, which is at the end of the 48-hour time span. There is an asymptote, and what an asymptote is, where a graph gets infinity close but never reaches. The graph never reaches zero because the way it works is that supposedly the caffeine is not supposed to ever run out once it enters in your body, but there will come at a time where caffeine doesn't really like have an effect on your body anymore, so just like ran the job. Uh, there are any X or Y intercepts for those kids that learned that when you were in Algebra 1. And to conclude this PSA, um, I concluded that I felt like I should have stopped drinking caffeine at around 10:30 or 11 o'clock because at around this time I will have just barely enough caffeine that will not affect my body because anything like under 32ish. Because around the time where I start consuming caffeine would be 50.11, and by the time I go to bed, my caffeine level should decrease enough for me to be asleep within 10 to 15 minutes. But unfortunately, I had a little extra caffeine on that day because I went kind of crazy. So don't do that. That concludes this PSA announcement, and hope you learned something.